Als het goed is, your life, it says again.
Yes.
Hola, hola, everybody. Hola is hello in Spanish. For the
Oh,
people who
really?
don't know. Hola, Chris. How are you today?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm okay. Not very, 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 very good, but okay. There's tomorrow. I have my yeah my lecture and
Ah,
my presentation, and there are some things going on in my body. I feel it. So today I'm in Dutch. We say you run like chicken without a head.
I can think what that means for you, and I can see it. Well, I can see the chicken running without a head also, as a visual person. So, are you? Do you think it's nervousness?
No, it's not nervousness.
Okay,
It's more like anxiety or something like that. Yeah.
okay. Is it new for you to experience that, or do you recognize it from other times?
Yeah, but no, it's not. It's not new to do things like this, but I recognize it from other times. It's yeah, there are some things
Coming
going
up.
on, and I have just let it go. Tomorrow we're going to rock and roll.
Yes, I'm really excited for you that you're going to have the presentation. So I root for you tomorrow, definitely.
Yeah,
At
there are.
what time is it?
It's for in Dutch time. It's 7:30, 7:30
Ah, okay. Well,
in the evening.
people, it will be recorded. It is in Dutch, so it's only for our Dutch friends who will. It will be recorded and it will be eventually on the Unique YouTube channel, Unique Research YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah.
So subscribe to the channel. I think it's somewhere there or there. I don't know, but you can subscribe and then you will get a heads up when it's posted on the YouTube channel. And again, it's in Dutch, so only the Dutch people can enjoy this one from Chris. Well, looking forward to it, Chris. Today, normally we say to each other, we just let it come. And today it came a little bit early for me what I wanted to talk about because last week we had a peer meeting, and that's I will shortly explain what it is. A peer meeting is that when the people in the research that do the purpose paper readings, they are called peers. So that means that we are all equal and same and everything, and we come together like every once in 2 weeks, and some even every once well, I once in 4 weeks, and some even every 2 weeks, depending on which time zone you're in. And then we talk a lot about the experiment that we are doing with our purpose paper, our gifts and our talents. And one of the things the Monique, the head researcher, was elaborating on was the subject of the gift of melancholy. And this was a really serious topic, wasn't it, Chris?
Yes, it was. I don't have this gift, but I'm maybe a little bit happy. But but yes, yes, yes. It was a very, very interesting topic because I think it's very important. And I'm, as you know, guys, or maybe not know, but I tell you now, I very want to do this for children to guide the parents and the teachers to and the gift of melancholy, it is yeah, you can say it a kind of handful, and it needs some explanation as well. So I found it very, very interesting and very good by bringing this up. Monique brought this up, and I really, really, really like this because this is very important for the children. Because if there are children having this gift, you must be aware of that. Yeah, the parents or the teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, I would recommend not going into that gift specifically today because we don't have someone who can speak from her own experience. I think it's a good idea to invite someone who has the gift so she can or he can talk about that themselves, their experience in life with it. Because, as you know, and I said it in the first video also, but I will repeat it again, we are talking about our own experiences.
Yes.
So it's never meant that it's you have to do this in the same way or that's the wrong way or that's the good way. There isn't a wrong way, there isn't a good way in anything. It's just finding the way for you that works. That's why I say we're not talking about that specific gift because Chris and I don't have it, but there are 22 gifts from the 64 gifts that there are. 22 have something to do with melancholy, and it shows up in really very different ways. So it's not like melancholy that when you have those gifts, or more like a couple of those gifts, that you're always depressed or melancholic. No, it isn't like that. um, it isn't even I was depressed for well, I've been depressed a couple of times in my life, and didn't even notice it when I was in it. So now I know, with the gifts that I have now, I understand that it was a depression. But at that time I really didn't know. I just thought that I was tired and that didn't like life really that much at that time. And but I wasn't like didn't need to go to a psychiatrist, or I didn't need to go and have medicine for it, because it wasn't like the well, what you hear now is the people that are in bed, and they don't want to wake up, they don't want to face life at that moment. It felt different for me. So, and that exists too, what I'm telling, that people who are in bed and they don't want to be dark, and they have their depressions and melancholy maybe. But for me, it didn't show up like that. For me, it was like binge eating, especially chips. I love potato chips. So what I would do was, like, when I came home from work, the first thing I would grab was a bag of potato chips, the big ones, and I would eat the whole bag. And that's really out of the ordinary for me, because I'm not really someone who eats candy or stuff like that. So when I suddenly started eating a bag of potato chips every day, it was really, for me, strange. I was consciously like, why am I doing this? But I didn't know really why I did it. Now I know that it was in my melancholic phase that I couldn't find answers to some stuff, but also that I was, well, it felt for me like I was constantly misunderstood by almost everyone in my life. So that's one of the gifts I have, is that if I want to explain things to people, because I have a lot of knowledge and I know a lot of things, but I don't know how exactly to explain it in a way that they understand and that they can connect with what I'm saying. So what usually happened was that I was really enthusiastically telling things about what I knew and what I found out and whatever. And then people were, well, at the least really reluctant to hear me out. And at the worst, they were really like, oh, it's not true what you're saying, and you're lying. And, well, not with so many words, they would say you're lying, but it was intended that what they meant. People are usually not so forward. And that was really difficult, because it felt really alone, and you feel constantly misunderstood, and that made me feel really stupid, because I was like, so I can get people to understand me, so I must be dumb, because what I think and what I know, it probably isn't uh, something that other people understand. So is it because they don't understand, or is it because I'm dumb? And at that phase in my life, I was, well, pretty self insecure. Well, insecure. So I was thinking, well, then I must be stupid because I can get them to understand what I'm saying. So for me, that took like a couple of months to get through that, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So it starts at a certain point, and I don't know what it triggered anymore. Maybe if back then I would know, but now I don't know anymore because it's like 30 years ago. But um, as soon it starts like at a sudden moment, and for me it ended at a sudden moment. So, and it was not consciously that you know, oh, now it's over. I just stopped eating the potato chips, for example, and I didn't care as much anymore about how the people would react to me. That isn't to say that I was happy because I didn't care anymore. It was just a wall that I put up, and I was like, well, then I'm not telling you anything anymore because I don't want to be found stupid, or they don't want to listen to me. So, in a way, I built a wall and I protected myself. So, the next time when something was going on and I had knowledge about something, I would think, well, not two times, not three times, well, but like 10 times before I would share it. And even then, I would be reluctant to share it. And this is like I was 16 to 20 years old, it was the time that you are discovering yourself. And so that was a really difficult time for me. And had I know that the melancholy that you feel in that way, and that, well, for me it turned in some kind of light depression, um, was because I didn't know that it was part of me, of who I am, that I just learn when I learn to speak up when it's the right timing for me, and when I feel it's like my spleen is my decision center, but it's also the motor for me when to speak. So if I had known then, I probably it would have been different, but even that I cannot say for certain because it's always difficult in hindsight to say if it would be really different. So that's something that was for me a real big one. And another period in my life was like, and I think there are people who will recognize this because I hear it also around me. I had a period for like, I think 1.5 years that I really wasn't, I didn't know where my life was going. I didn't know what I wanted with life. I didn't know what the purpose was of life. Well, purpose is really important for me. That's one of my gifts, is to find the purpose in life. But I was looking, and I was, yeah, what I tried to do was find the answers from other people. Can you help me with finding my purpose? Why am I here? Why are things happening in my life? I had a lot of why questions in my life. I was sexually abused as a child, so why did that happen to me? Uh, why did my mother didn't really pay attention to that and keep me secure? Why didn't she do that? Did I had a lot of car accidents, and well, I had a lot of physical trouble. And with all the searching for the why, now I understand that I was searching for the purpose. Why is this happening for me? What is the purpose of this happening to me? What is it that I'm here to get out of that? And luckily, I had my partner at that time that said, well, why you never get answered? Ask the a question, what can I learn from it? And that was something that I was like, okay, that's an interesting approach. So I started more and more to look at it in that way, but I couldn't find answers. So the people that I would try to find answers from that could teach me something about how I would find those answers, um, it was always a short or a little piece of something that they gave me, a little piece of a puzzle, but it never made the puzzle complete. So it felt always really empty afterwards. Or usually I paid a lot of money for courses and things to grasp, and then I had it. I was gone through it, and I finished it, and then I was like, but I still don't know. So finding that purpose and finding the purpose in life is something that came back and back and back again in my life. But there was one time that I had, like, for 1.5 years, that I don't know. Do you know the games from Facebook? Candy Saga, Candy Crush, and all those games that you can play all day. Well, there was that period that I played them all day long, every day. And my partner then was really, well, he was really nice about it, but I knew it irritated the hell out of him that he would come home and I would be on the game and not really reacting. I was really introverted also in that time. And now I understand that in our purpose paper, Monique wrote about your favorite waste of time. So to embrace the
Yeah.
melancholy, just embrace it and find your favorite waste of time. And it doesn't have a purpose. It doesn't have any meaning. It doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have an end goal. And now in hindsight, I understand that that was my favorite waste of time, and it was a pretty stupid waste of time, but it was my waste of time. It was my embracing that I didn't know what to do at that time, so I just was there. I was living, I was breathing, and that was it. And also, like with the potato chip, the eating, it started accidentally, or it's all of a sudden, and it ended all of a sudden. And also, this is the same. It started somewhere, and then all of a sudden, from one day and the other day, I stopped. And it wasn't like there was a big enlightenment or something like that. Well, not for me, at least. But there was more peace. So I found more peace in just being as a human instead of really searching for that purpose in life. And so I got more peace out of that for myself. And it didn't mean that I stopped searching. I kept searching, but in other ways, and it was um, less dissatisfying in a way. And how I deal with it now, that's totally different, because now I know it's my melancholic phase. So now I know just to embrace it, because that's something for me, and it depends on which gift the melancholy comes from. But for me, there are especially the purpose one, finding my purpose in life. That one is some that comes up frequently, until I got my purpose paper reading, because now I know my purpose in life. And the beauty of that is, now I also know how, following my strategy, so my strategy of my energy type, so that's the yellow energy field, and I know how to make decisions, better decisions, and I know how that you wait. That I also need to wait on timing, the right timing for me, and that I will feel that. So in the experiment, because I'm still experimenting with it, because, well, it's sometimes really scary to do, because I want to, how do you say that, um, enforce it almost. My mind is like, yeah, no, not wait. We're not going to wait. You want to do it now. Go ahead now. Find your purpose now, or do it now, because that is related to your purpose. And then my mind is telling me that I need to take action, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. So I always need to then take a step back again and do something in that moment, or do nothing. And while I'm now in Mexico, I'm starting to learn that my favorite waste of time in this moment is doing really nothing, just sitting, staring at the beautiful nature around me. So, it doesn't sound like a depression, does it for you? What I'm telling you?
Um, um, it does a little bit. How can I say this? It's a lot in the head. This is what I feel, and but I understand because I know you are a creative investigator, and you are trying to find out and to figure out what is happening to you and why it is happening to you. Am I right? But um, yeah, I think it could be it could it, so if you are if you are in the stage that you are trying to find out and you are a little bit more in the head, then it could for me it could be a little bit like a depression. But if you're really in your body, if you're really in your heart, then your heart will tell you to have faith and to trust. And then I can yeah I can imagine, because for me it's difficult. I had a depression once in my life, so I know what it is to have a depression. But I can imagine that when you're really in your heart and in your body, that your body and heart is telling you that it's different. And but what I do think it's necessary to mention is that the problem with melancholy is that it's not very social accepted by people, and I think this is the main thing that should be spoken about. Because for instance, I had a depression and I had a burnout, and a burnout is completely different from a depression. But when you have a burnout, people are still with you and you have still a lot of contacts with people. But in a depression, people are not people are not looking for that, and I think you are more or less you are um, showing them something they don't want to see. So you end up very alone in this area.
I want to break in there because it's not for me. It isn't consciously that I decided that I don't want people to know. When I'm in that state, it's I just retract from the world. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not really that I don't want people to know, because I didn't know at that time that I was depressed. So
No, but I
um,
try to tell this because it's not accepted by people. This is what I mean. People, it's not about that you want to let people know that you have it, but it's you will find people going away from you if you are in a state of mind like that.
ah, yeah,
This is what I mean. But anyway, but it's good to hear that you are finding your way uh, now and you see the difference. And yes,
yeah,
of course, yeah, this is important. And actually, it is also important for people to know that it is different than a depression.
yeah. It's
I don't
totally
think,
different than
yeah,
it's different in the way that, well, like you said, if you're living from the head, then everything that the gifts that have melancholy in it, there is a bigger chance. I will not say it will happen, but there is a bigger chance that it ends up in a depression. And when, like you say, when you follow your body, when you follow
yeah,
your heart, and you follow your yeah, who you are, you're staying authentic to yourself. Then it will be more like melancholy. It feels like melancholy. And even melancholy, like you say, it's not really accepted in the world. But for me, melancholy, that's why I try to start with that, was that I didn't even know it was there for myself. So a lot of people don't know this about me because the melancholy always showed up when I was usually alone at home. And when I got out, I usually didn't feel really bad about me or melancholic or depressed. So I was happy when I saw people because at that time I felt great to see other people. So it wasn't like and there's a big difference because there's also the people who are really depressed. They cannot go even out the door and they cannot be nice or joyful because they really are down. But for me that wasn't the case. So that's why it was so interesting for me to find that out, that it was melancholy and even little depression that was happening to me. Because for me depression was, what I said, the people are who are not going out, who are under their blankets, and they don't want to see anybody, they want to speak, they don't want to live. That was what I thought depression looks like. And then I found out that it has a lot of different faces, and it's not always there. It's interchangeable. So that was why I started with my experiences in the first place, because I was like, maybe there are people who have those moments and they are not aware that it's melancholy that they are dealing with, and they are just, well, I could get really angry with myself about it because I was like, come on, why are you playing that stupid game? Just go do something, or find a job, or do this or do that. And I try to kick my butt, and but nothing happened. Nothing. My body wouldn't move. I wouldn't move, and then my mind would be even more mad at myself because I was like, why can't you do that? And why don't you do this? And so you are really hard on yourself in those periods. And nobody sees that because it's an inner struggle that's fine, that's occurring in your life. And that's why I want also to share, because um, seeing people being happy when they are around people, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are also really happy when they are at home. No, those people can be at home and they can really experience melancholy or even depression if it's not, if it's approached more from the mind. So that's the awareness for me that was like mind blowing to find that out, because then I was like, okay, so you can be melancholic or depressed even when you are like 1 hour later or 2 days later, you are acting happy and you have fun at a party. Because I thought I was a fraud. Because I thought, well, you cannot be like down and then 2 days later have fun and then come home and be down again.
Yeah.
And
But that's the head talking to you.
exactly, there is it. It's all mind that talks to
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
that was for me really becoming aware of like, oh, wait a minute. But it's why not? It's just another way, and it shows in another way, but it's also a way of melancholy, or in well, in the mind case it's a depression. So one thing that I, because maybe it's in, I don't know, do you find it interesting to find out why I came to research this on subject?
Yeah, yeah, you tell me. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I really find it a little bit, little bit heavy, but just just go on.
Is it too heavy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just tell me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can feel it in my body, but just tell me what. Tell me.
Yeah, maybe because also there is emotion that you are catching up from me, because yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
can
things are
understand that.
emotionally.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But just go on.
Well, I will only share the part about why I got to research, came to research it in the first place, because like 7 years ago, I had a heart infarction, and it was a really big one, a massive one, and it made me, I couldn't do anything anymore. I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't nothing. I was just laying down on the bed and or the couch, and even standing up was too tiring for me. And the one thing that I came into contact was human design, it's called. And one of the things they told me was, well, I read, was that if you have a certain gift, that it would be probable and very likely that you will have troubles with your heart, literal problems with your heart. So not emotionally, but literal. And that was like, for me, like, what? How can I have a gift in life that causes me harm? Because that is how it felt for me, because I couldn't do anything anymore. And then I started studying that and investigating that, because I was like, okay, what is the meaning of that? What do they mean by that? So the one thing that I found out is when um, I did a lot of things outside of myself, so not like my authentic self, but from the mind,
Yeah.
then well, that's how I imagine it, that I would take a little bite of my heart. And every time I did that, and I did it a lot because I wasn't living my authentic being, because I didn't know what my authentic being was. Um, it took a little bite of my heart, and a little bite of my heart, and a little bite of my heart. And they called it, it's like shocks to the heart. And for me, what I started experimenting with was, what happens if I'm myself? So really finding out, who am I more authentically? Who is Mariska? Then trying things out. if if do I like myself? Because I didn't really know if I would like myself. So I would try out things in my relations with people, in how I approach things and stuff like that. And then it became a little bit better and a little bit lighter literal physical sense. And then all one day I had a conversation with someone, and she said something to me that was really hurtful for me. And because my inauthentic self, my mind, was like, well, I was brought up, you don't say, well, I teach myself, no, and that was not brought up in that way, but I teach myself at some point in life that I would get out of the way of conflict. So I didn't say right away to her that she hurt me. So I decided to shut my mouth, don't say anything.
Yeah.
And what happened was that I came home, and my heart started to act up. So I got symptoms. And I was like, that's interesting, because I hadn't had symptoms at that time for like a couple of months in a row. So I was like, interesting. Why do I get symptoms all of a sudden? And um, I got quiet about it. I got in my melancholic phase, because um, I felt really sad, and I felt really misunderstood, and I was really also, again, that I didn't explain it. Then, because I blame myself that she reacted that way, because yeah, you must have not explained it the right way, she didn't understand, I blamed myself that she didn't understand what I was trying to share with her. And then after a couple of days, I don't know anymore what I did there back then, what my favorite waste of time was back then, because I had a lot of them, different ones. um, then all of a sudden it clicked, and it was like, wait a minute, I need to call her, and I need to share with her that she hurt me.
Yeah, you have to inform.
Exactly. So, but up until the time that I called, I had the symptoms. So I was really feeling bad, and I was really having problems with my heart. So I decided to call, and follow my heart and just say what was coming up. And the moment everything was set from my side, I felt my heart, the symptoms, they disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really a big aha moment for me, that
Mm-hmm.
everything in life, for me at least, for me it's a really physical way that I life shows me, um, if I am on the right path for me or not.
Mm-hmm.
So in that moment, I knew that my heart was literally telling me that it was done doing things for another and feeling bad about it myself. So not choosing me, because that is what I used to do. I chose the other.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help the other, but I ignored myself in the process a lot of the times. And um, I think I don't want to call myself a people pleaser, because I wasn't someone that always said yes, for example. But in a way, I was a people pleaser in acting. So I would go above and beyond to give people something. I would, when I started my business, my own business, I would give and give and give away everything for free. And in that process, what I didn't know back then was I also gave away a little piece of myself every time that I did that. And because of this gift that I have, the 51, and I
Can
haven't
you mention the gift? Because
the gift.
51 doesn't appeal to people.
I know, but I don't know the gift by name. Let me think of if I can look it up really quick. Moment, everybody. Almost there. It's the gift of self testing.
Okay.
So I can read it. It's likely that you test yourself, your performance results, and compare yours with others. You love to
All
grow
right.
and improve. And actually, you love and aim to be either the first or the best at something. You have a very competitive energy, which also can be seen as either foolhardiness or courage. Due to this energetic drive, you bring a sense of unpredictability and excitement to life, and you bring a special gift of empowering others by shocking them out of their little worlds into the bigger picture. That the last part is something I'm not aware of that happens. I know it happens because afterwards I hear that, but it's not something that I am aware of that's happening. What is there is also, now I see that again, is I like excitement in my life. I like to be a lot of things that excite me. And it doesn't mean that I need to go somewhere, but it can also be something that I'm researching that I get excited about. And I really can get melancholic when I'm not excited. There's no excitement in my life, and then I will be mostly comparing, because the comparing there, it looks like or sounds like maybe like you're comparing with in a competition or something like that. And I never really, I like to win, of course, but it's not my goal up front. So that was something that I was like, okay, no, I don't have that per se. But what I do have is that um, I find that, well, I lost track of thought, so it's probably not really interesting what I wanted to share. It's gone. It's gone. So it's not to share that anymore. Do you have something like that also sometimes in your life, that you are like talking about something and then it's gone?
Yeah, especially when I'm talking with people and then it's about something they should know, and after when I want to try to tell it to other people, then I forget. But I think I forget because it was for them and not for somebody else to share. But yeah, sometimes yeah, it happens when you talk a lot. then sometimes you lose the track of your story. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. So probably it was not the
Mm,
time, or I don't know. Just
yeah.
listen to it, yeah, like in the experiment.
Yeah, for me, if I may,
Yes, of
if
course.
I may, yeah. Um, for me, if I listen to your story, most of the things that I feel is like the hard thing is when you told when you told me your story, I felt like, okay, you are more living outside of your energy type, more like a generator or something like
Yeah,
that. And I can imagine if you do that, if you're not informing, because your heart literally told you you have to inform, and I can tell people, oh, she has the energy type of the manifester, and that energy type needs to inform. They are, yeah, informers. And if you don't do that, you will become angry, yeah, because angriness, for me, it's like when you're very angry, it can go to your heart. So I can imagine that during that time in your life, you had a lot of anger inside of you, which had to come out, but it didn't come out. So it was everything was like in your heart. So it was bursting, and then
it
there was a
exploded.
big,
Yeah,
yeah. But I can imagine that, yeah, it's freaking you out when something happens like that in your life. But for me, it's also like it's happening for you, huh? Because it's a big wake up call.
it
It
was.
tells you, okay, little girl, you have to do it differently. You are not authentic, and you're living in your head. Your head is your ruler and not your heart. And so hello, and
Wake up.
then I yeah, I of course I had the same thing in life. I also have several times big wake up calls, so I can recall to that. And I know what you mean, but yeah,
But
they
can
are.
can I touch up to something because you brought up a really important thing.
Yeah,
We because we started about melancholy and depression is not really accepted in life,
yeah.
and but anger is the same. Anger is also not really accepted. It's not your, well, I was not really allowed to be angry. If I was
Hmm.
angry, then
Hmm.
I would be corrected, and you were like, no, it's not allowed. So for me, what happened was that all the anger, I always swallowed it and swallowed it and swallowed it and swallowed it again and again and again. And up until today, I find it really difficult to recognize anger in myself because of that, because I don't know really what is anger, because when it came up from childhood on, I would put it away right away because it was not allowed, it was not accepted. And when I look around in the world, um, we see a lot of things happening, and like aggression and stuff like that. And uh, what I find is that that has to do also with the repression of anger, because if anger gets repressed constantly because it's not polite to be angry or to raise your voice. If I raise my voice, and usually it's, or I'm really enthusiastic or I'm really angry when I raise my voice, and I am aware that that brings a lot of big energy also with itself when I do that. But I immediately will be cut down to the ground if I do that, because then people are like, there she is with her big mouth, and she's yelling and whip, 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 whip. And then I will be okay, and I make myself small again, and I swallow it back in again. And for me now, I want to experiment, for example, with showing my anger in well, let it come out at least in one way
Yeah.
or another.
Mhm.
Um, but I actually don't know how how I should do it. This morning I had an incident that I was really, my anger was flaring up, and I called Monique and I said I need to vent because I'm really angry right now. And so she said, well, for her it works like for her to go clean something, and then like and I hate cleaning, so she hated it too. But I was like, yeah, but it's not coming up for me to do something like that. It helped to speak about it, but I know that somewhere in my body that anger still lingers. And I think that's also a subject that is widely not accepted.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
I
know,
recognize it. Yeah.
all emotions, when you think about it, even when you're sad, the people who are grieving a lost one or a breakup or whatever, if you're sitting and someone asks you how are you doing, and you're saying, well, now today I have a sad day, I feel alone, or I feel I miss the person, and people don't know how to act around that because they are immediately like, oh my god, what should I do, what should I do? And then usually there comes one or two cliches, and you're like, okay, it's awkward, it becomes uncomfortable to talk with that person at that time because they don't really know what to say or do. And I wish that there was one way or another that we would embrace more and more that it's okay to feel sad and then to express that sadness in that moment, or your anger, or I don't know. And for me, did you experiment with something like that within your purpose paper? Because I don't see an answer for that right now, for me at least. I don't know if you maybe have something experienced with that.
Yeah, I have experience, and for me, it's like, yeah, for me, there's a universal law. You attract what you show. So, if I may be honest, because I used to be like that all the time. Also, uh, very difficult showing my anger or showing my feelings. But I have a very good friend of mine, and she taught me just to complain. But more, the more you do, and the more you accept yourself to do it, the more people you attract who are okay with that. So for me, it's when you tell me things like that. For me, it's like I think you have also a problem. It starts with yourself, like you having a problem by showing things like that. So um, when you accept those parts inside of you, and you will find yourself more and more people around you who do the same or who say it's okay to do it. it,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
it is also, it always starts within you. You always you always attract the things you you show. So if like you say now, this is not acceptable, and this and this and this, you are right for the big picture, of
Yeah, I
course.
was talking about the big picture.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
not personal. It was more
yeah,
like, we were talking
yeah, yeah.
about melancholy and depression. It's not
Mhm.
social and
No, no,
socially
no.
accepted. And it's the same with, grief. It's
Yeah,
the same with that, with a lot of emotions. Anger, it's not really social accepted that you have those things and those feelings and emotions. And so, and I hope that maybe when we embrace more and more, well,
yeah,
if we become more authentic to ourselves,
yeah,
because when you are authentic, that's what I find, is that you need to let it out, because
Mm-hmm.
It's in the way of being, for me, it's in the way of being authentic. If I keep it in now, I need to express it. And
Yeah, yeah.
well, for me, it shows up in my body. It shows up in different ways that I get reminded, hey, hello, just get it out and just let it out. Yeah,
Yeah, I have a very nice example.
that's
It
all.
just happened to me not long ago, a few days ago, and I'm actually never. I'm not a person who is angry very often, and it's difficult to get me angry actually. But I was a little. There was a little bit, a lot of noise, a lot of things going on that day, and I found myself snapping. Somebody told me something. A good friend of mine, he was telling me something. And yeah, from the past, he's not always safe for me. Sometimes he's like, he's going, yeah, he has a gift that the one you were mentioned, that you are shocking them out of your world.
Yeah,
So, and I'm very, very sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person. So he did that one time, not long ago. He did it once to me, and then for I think for weeks, I was finding myself shocked. It's okay because it's happened for me, you know. And I found out I need to be shocked because yeah, I need a lot of things. So anyway, but that's a different story. But so he was a little. I was a little bit cautious with him. So, but then I found myself snapping at him like, "Shut up! You know, shut up! And I don't want you to talk to me like that." And I was, whoa, who is this? You know, ooh, that this is authentic, Chris. I know, but whoa, what is this? And but with those people, it was okay. I also told him, "Oh, I'm actually also a little bit sorry for being like that, but that yeah, it should be okay." And it was okay because they know me and they love me. And but the more you, yeah, it's true. But the more I'm experimenting, and I did the last 2 years. I did a lot of experimenting, and I find myself more and more authentic. And also this, I have, if you are okay, I have a very beautiful story about this.
yeah,
Yeah. My energy field, I am very sensitive to waves, frequencies. So I'm also sensitive to frequencies from animals or plants. So one day I was walking in nature, and and then suddenly I was yeah, I know the Dutch word hulst. What is it in
sorry.
English? Een hulst. Hulst. What? Yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
holy.
plant. Yeah,
It's you have this with Christmas, the holy with
yeah,
the.
the green, the green Christmas. Yeah, and I know what you mean. Wait, maybe I just look it up. People
I
have a
think it's
little bit of
holy,
faith.
but it's called holy or something like that.
How do you call it?
Something like holy or whole. I'm not sure, but
I
I'm
can, I
sorry.
can, I can search it. People can wait like 30 seconds. Hills. Yeah, Holly.
Yeah, holy, yeah, yes. No, not
Holly. It's called
holy. Holy is sacred.
Holly. Yeah,
Holy,
exactly. But it's
holy, holy,
Holly. Holly. I didn't know that. It's
holy,
got a
holy.
nickname. Yeah.
Oh, so I was standing in front of holy, and this was a very beautiful. This was a very beautiful experiment for me because the holy was talking to me, and it talked to me like, "Look at my leaves." And then I, yeah, looked at his leaves. There are very sharp things around the leaves, and they they were the Holly told me, okay, squeeze gently in my leaf. What is happening? So I squeezed a little bit, but gently, very aware of that I was squeezing. And I said, yeah, I feel a little bit. It stick, it like it felt. If I feel the sharp things, but it's not.
Quickly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Quickly.
it's not hurting, or it's not. It's I'm not bleeding and things like that. So it's okay, but I feel it. And then they say, all right, and now you have my leaf, and just do like this, just like this. And I did it like, and I said, and I was bleeding. So the Holly told me, like, Chris, you have sharp ends, but look at my leaf. How is it strong? Is it firm? No, I told him, no, it's very delicate. It's very delicate because it's broken easily. And so told me like, okay. So when it's the same with you, you are delicate and you have sharp ends. But your sharp ends are very important for you because when somebody is into you and is very yeah, and yeah, is into me, then he does like this. And if you have the sharp ends, it's not hurting them, but they feel it, but it's not hurting them. But if you have people who don't care about you, who have different agendas, you can compare that with this. So if you have the sharp edges and you responding like that, then look at the other one. What is going on? If they say, okay, it's okay, nothing is wrong, and this happened to that person, then they are really into you, and actually it's very good because if you do not have those sharp ends, you can break.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Natural
protection
protection.
mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
mechanism for protection. So um but if you see someone, if you do something, you have the sharp edges, and then you find people, or they are say, oh, I'm so hurt, things like that, or whatever, or they get very angry because you did that. You can compare this with that.
Yeah.
So you can have the feeling like, okay, those people are not very into me, so you can leave it back with them. Leave the reaction with them. And the Holy told me, Chris, you have to accept your rough edges because they protect you. The same with me. I have rough edges, but it's because I'm very, very delicate. I need those edges. So I think, um, yeah, it really, really gave me a lot of insight. And
Yeah, I
I
can imagine that. Yeah.
and so it happens with everything, with anger or with depression or whatever. Leave the reaction with the other party, and if
Yeah.
they're really into you, they will accept that too. But it starts with the acceptance within yourself.
Yeah. True. That's a very nice story to end with, I think.
Yeah.
That people can ponder on that one for a while just to get it in themselves and feel how it feels for them and how it maybe shows up in their lives. For everyone that has been watching, I saw a couple of eyes poking around. So I think a couple of people came on and came off, and let us know that you were here in the comments. What did you like best? What you learned today or heard today, or what do you want to experiment with? Maybe we inspired you in some way. Let us know in the comments, and don't forget, of course, a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So next week we will be here at 1 p.m. CDT time and 8 p.m. Amsterdam time. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we see you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.